Talking to Emmanuel and Ashton of Audio Coming Soon. You guys told me the funniest story about your first gig. Please please give me that story again. It was hilarious.
I feel like, yeah, I mean,
I'll start off.
Yeah.
So basically, we just started. I couldn't even say we started DJing. We threw ourselves in at the deep end and reached out to a friend of ours and we really wanted to play somewhere abroad because we were just reaching for the stars. You know, we wanted to, like, playing in London is cool, but we wanted to play somewhere else. And there was a beach club in Italy. So cut long story short, we went there, and I actually remember specifically saying to Emmanuel, should we do a set list? And he said, no, we've got to.
And I feel like that was like a massive part of me just being able to.
I think there's also a little bit of arrogance.
Yeah,
as well,
just being able to learn that you don't have to always, you know, have it sorted, if that makes sense. Like
in this case, we needed it.
Yeah, in my mind, it was like, okay, cool. You know, we're just gonna freestyle and it's fine. Like real DJs just freestyle. Do you know what I mean? You don't need to
not after DJ for like 2 months.
Yeah.
We needed like a set list, sorry. And so yeah, we got to this club and it was packed. Like it was a beach club and it was very Italian and it was like loads of like 18, 19-year-old kids and getting drunk. And it was just like, it was packed. It was like super busy. And the DJ who obviously normally plays there is very comfortable, and we jumped on after him, and we actually we weren't playing on the decks there, we bought a controller unit with us. Right. Emmanuel bought it in a suitcase. So we put that on top of the DJ decks, plugged it in, so there was like a period of maybe silence, I think.
I was trying to connect that awkward silence where you're
in a packed club. In a packed club.
Like a good 20 silence.
Yeah, Emmanuel was beatboxing in that silence.
Oh no!
And then we started playing, and we couldn't play. Like we could play, but we just didn't. We weren't ready. And
yeah, 100%. I think yeah, that was just basically it in a nutshell. We weren't really ready to play out to 700 people. Yeah. In a busy club, you know, commercial Italian, you know, beach club.
But what is interesting, because in that moment you realized that you weren't ready, but what made you think that you were ready? What
mentally,
your confidence?
Just mentally, just mentally being able to say, I have good music, I can transition. I think it's a massive thing as well for DJs. When you think your taste in music is so good, sometimes you kind of get lost in the sauce because you think, you know what, I can play good music, but then you forget that you've got to control a crowd.
Sometimes you've got to play music which is not the music you want to play, because you're going to a place where it's a different country, it's a different vibe. Yeah. So you've got to switch it up, and we didn't have that ability to quickly switch it up and play the music, club music.
Yeah, and also just another massive factor in this as well. It's just like we were just wanting to play it, you know. So we weren't taking into consideration that where we were playing at is a commercial space, and the music that we play wasn't going to be able to stick with those guys because they just want to hear 50 Cent in the club. And, you know, Twister, and I mean, Twister's amazing, but they want to hear like just really commercial music.
Janet Jackson remixes.
Yeah, and just so we
my kind of music.
But in a cheesy edits and cheesy remixes. So realistically, long story short, we shouldn't have really been there in the first place. The club owner, Loki, I think even told us that we had missed our flight and that he was going to keep us till tomorrow.
Yeah, he wanted us to stay.
Yeah, he just wanted us to stay. I feel like he felt sorry for us, low-key.
I think so. But in that moment...
You had this moment of like, which was like a big, like, brought you to a halting stop, shook your confidence. Where do we go from? Because already, you know, you might be you're dealing with transitioning from being models to DJs. So talk about that transition with people taking you seriously and not seeing you just as these fashion DJs, you know what I mean? So, and now you have this first gig that doesn't go as you planned. How do you move on from that? What was the next step?
Well, I think it's an ego knock, but you got to remember, since then there's been moments of that madness happening again, but in smaller like snippets, you know, like things not working at a club, or or not even being able to get into a place that you're DJing at, or like not being able to, your friends are outside. So there's always that moment. There's little moments of madnesses happening,
and the transition from models to DJs. When me and Ashton started DJing and producing music, there wasn't really anyone doing it. So I guess it was a bit harder for us because no one really understood it, you know, and also it was a massive space. Like, you know, when you come into music and as a DJ, you got to remember, it's like, okay, cool, what niche do you fall into? What sound is it? What kind of events can you play? And at the time, we weren't really falling into anything because no one really understood what we were doing. So yeah, it was definitely a long-winded transition, but it was a transition.
Did you feel people were receptive to this idea of you becoming AudioComingSoon? What was it? Was it
a lot of things? I think a lot of things. I think when you're, you know, same agency as well. Like when you're with an agency who are, you know, pushing you as models, they don't really necessarily understand or
care.
Yeah, or like you know, I mean, they might care, but it's like it's not what you're here as a model, you know. So it's not to their real interest to make you, you know, the next biggest DJs, you know. So yeah, it was people were definitely receptive to it, but I don't think it was ill intentions. I just think people just didn't necessarily understand or like, you know, really understand how to move and how to kind of position us in that time.
Right, you really had to educate people on the next step. So talk me through AudioComingSoon. You know, because I said when we were chatting before, I've said, do you think that the name is a bit difficult in the branding? So talk us through how you discovered what your niche was and what your sound was and all of that. Who is AudioComingSoon?
So me and Ashton became an entity probably around 2015. At the time, there was a lot of musicians who were coming up with creative names, and we didn't want to just have like a random like DJ Magic. Do you know what I mean? We wanted something that sounded like, shit, I want to go to that party.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I'm very cinematic. Like,
yeah, I want to be there. This is something that I haven't seen before. You know, so when we started the name process, we were just going back and forth with like just names in general, and then we just kind of just squeezed.
What were some of the names?
I can't even remember.
I don't think you even want to know. So
I can't even remember. But yeah, and then we just squeezed AudioComingSoon together out of random as well. It didn't really work at the time, but we liked it. There was something about it that we just really liked. So yeah, that was the beginning of something that's obviously led us to the point right now. But in terms of the whole creative illusion of AudioComingSoon, when we picked out the name, we wanted it to sound like a movie. We wanted it to sound like something you would pay money, you know, to go and see, you know, bums on seats. So we wanted to create something that sounds theatrical, and AudioComingSoon at the time was like the best name we had thought of, and it still is the best name.
And it grows on me. Like I don't even know if I liked it at the start, we went with it, and then every year, like I don't know, it gets easier to
it gets easier to say, yeah. But I feel like just the sum up to the name is just really just, you know, imagining, you know, you're at a theatre show and you're seeing a play.
When I think of AudioComingSoon, it's like it's almost as if you never arrive at the destination. You always are moving forward to something.
People used to say to us, "Oh, when AudioComingSoon? When's the music coming? When's it coming soon? Coming soon?" Like, and it was always like a conversation starter as well.
But I think you're right, Zadrian. Like completely. Like, you know, it's an ongoing work in progress.
Now, I love what you said earlier about controlling the crowd. So talk to me about how when you guys are doing a set, how you control the crowd, how you think about your audience.
I think you like going into a set, like also it comes down to where is it? Is it a cool little fashion party? Is it a club night? Is it, are you warming up for someone? Is it, do you know what I mean? That's all it comes down to. And then also you have to realize you don't know what to expect until you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, because you could be coming after a DJ that's killed the place, and then
which has happened many times,
and you were about to play something chill, and then you've got all of a sudden switch it up like that. So it's like you're kept on your toes, and you have to be prepared and ready to play how you want to play and to how the crowd obviously want to kind of use it.
I think just the main thing as well is just being able to have a folder full of, like, you know, just timeless music, new music, alternative remixes, edits.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you need to be super broad when it comes to your playlist, you know, because I think that's...
Is the crowd directing you, or are you directing the crowd? Or is it...
Both, but you can't do anything without the music. Do you know what I mean? So as long as your palette is completely full, and well, it can never be full, but as long as you've like put in the work and you've got, you know, good music, you know, it becomes easier. But what I'll say is this, right? The way I DJ as well, because we're, as much as we are an entity, we DJ very differently. The way I DJ and the way I test out crowds is if I just throw songs out there, you know, and if it works, you kind of know what lane to, you know, gravitate towards. And if it doesn't work, you kind of just go back a bit and draw for something that is going to work. Because there's always songs as well that you know really going to work. You know? And you've got the song that you've been listening to and you think this is a banger. And then you play it and it's like... And people don't feel it. People don't even know what it is. And it's weird though, because people don't feel it then. But then more times out of 10, a couple months down the line, everyone's loving that song.
Interesting. Okay.
It's an ongoing music. Playing music to people just naturally is always going to be questionable.
I've always thought the musicians, DJs, I mean, really, you know, you are the innovators of music. You know, music artists really depend on you to help turn their songs into hits. So let's say you arrive at a space, you're not feeling the vibe, you're not feeling the energy. Do you think it's within your power to shift the energy of that space with the music?
100%. There's definitely times where we've played the music we like, and it's just like if you don't like it, you don't like it. Do you know what I mean? Okay. And there's also times where we've played music and we've been like, oh no, we need to kill this crowd, so we need to play what they want to hear. Yeah. So it's a balance. It's like and sometimes a battle. Like if you go in there and you know you can own the crowd, then you play whatever you want. But if you go in there and the crowd are hyped up, you got to play what they want to hear. Like I'll give you a quick story. So we went to Paris. We played at like a fashion after party. It was at, what was it? Not Silencio. It was at Le Rouge. Is that Le Rouge? Yeah. Huge space. How many people? They're like 500. Okay, huge space, absolutely packed. All of the coolest kids in Paris. And the guy who played before us actually was supposed to play at the end. And this is a story actually about somebody who's so sick playing before you and making sure that when you come on after, you need to step up. So we had planned this mix that was like super chill, you know, wasn't too crazy because obviously the times that we're playing. This guy who played before us, Zadrian, absolutely murked that whole place down. You know, like, it was like being at like a festival in a club. Completely. And murked that whole place down. And we were supposed to come on before him. So we had planned that we were going to play like a super chill situation, and then he was going to play after us. So we had to switch it up. So right. We had to switch it up. So you know, having those playlists basically to fall back on, where you know that, listen, no matter what, I've got this playlist, and that playlist, and no matter what the circumstances are, we can always deliver. So yeah, that is just what it has to be when you're a DJ, constantly moving and playing in different spaces. Just being able to be super equipped and have your music down to a T.